finishing up. Then there's this. Dak said, quote, I stopped honestly listening to things Jerry Jones says to the media a long time ago. It doesn't really hold weight with me. Mina, when you see that and you hear that, you think about everything going on with the Cowboys, what do you think?
I think that is absolutely the right approach to the things that Jerry Jones says to the media. I mean, that guy talks so much, and he is so unlike any other owner in sports. And half the things he says, I don't even know if we often see him contradict those things with his actions. So for Dak, I know it sounds, I don't know, maybe a little bit flip, and obviously Jerry is the owner of the team and the GM, but frankly, I think he's well within his rights to put it that way. And that was in response, by the way, to a quote where Jerry talked about Dak and what he's shown, and honestly, I felt that it came across as a little critical, but I don't blame Dak one bit for this, and I don't think it's going to impact their negotiations or lack thereof.
Yeah, see, I would disagree with that. So I think Dak is probably one of the, if not the best, when it comes to handling press conferences that we have in the NFL. Patrick certainly is up there as well. He's essentially flawless many a times, MK. Second time this year that we've had a player, I guess, comment about some of the stuff that Jerry has said, either directly or indirectly about them. CD did the LOL on Twitter. Now Dak Prescott's going, I don't really pay attention to what he says. And part of me goes, I understand what you're saying.
That's like a no comment, though, right? He's saying he doesn't pay attention to it.
At some point, everyone says never let it get emotional. At some point, it does. Like, at some point, he's a human being. This is the second time he's kind of going through this in Dallas.
I think we are on the precipice of what could be the start of one after the other insightful comments from Dak Prescott, and here's why. He is going to be an unfettered free agent who was second in MVP voting, and the last time he bet on himself, he got hurt and still got paid. He really doesn't have to care what Jerry Jones or anyone else thinks, because he's going to be paid by fill in the blank.
But does
the Raiders, the Giants. So
doesn't it become personal then? Like, doesn't it become a little bit less business and more like?
Yeah, we've all been in those situations where we say things just to get through a press conference. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He's still the leader of the team. All I'm saying is he could be much more authentic, and that's what I'm saying. Like, what he just said to, like, when you really think about what he just said, I think that was a little bit more authenticity than it was more of just speaking in sound bites.
Yeah, I mean, I just went back to CD. He said LOL when Jerry kind of, he came across as dismissive talking about him in the same way that I think you could interpret his comments about Dak, which is what Dak's referring to. And then, Dan, a contract got done. These guys know that Jerry, the media figure, has pretty much nothing to do with Jerry, the GM, at least based on how these things have played out with Dallas. And that's how I read this comment. Dak's saying whatever, he's saying whatever he wants to say. What happens behind closed doors has absolutely nothing to do with that.
That's fair. That's fair. I just think it's the second time, and we all knew the CD deal was going to get done. Like,
that one never felt in question.
At some point it was going to get done. This one does feel very much on question, and we know probably the main reason why it hasn't gotten done, along with Mike McCarthy's, is because of the lack of playoff success.
Yeah. But here's one thing I would say, guys. Jerry Jones comports himself in this world as, I am a billionaire, I have leverage. This is the one time, guys.
Must be nice.
He does not have leverage, because Dak Prescott can walk out the door as an unfettered free agent.
He's going to make $60 million no matter what.
Right, and he may say, you know what, I want to go try someplace new. And that's why, to me, this dynamic is so fascinating.
All right, just a quick reminder, too, of just this week, Jerry said that, hey, Dak may have to do more with less because I haven't really surrounded him with a whole lot, kind of putting some pressure on Dak there. That was earlier. Oh, yeah. You've been off a little bit, Dan, but that happened earlier this week. And then also, Dak just saying earlier in this press conference that, if the deal doesn't get done before the season, it may show how some people feel. I think that's fascinating because that timeline feels a little bit quicker than we thought. All right, coming up, Russell Wilson has been to ACL injury, is on track to play against the 49ers to the Cowboys. They signed CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year deal earlier this week, but how about Dak?
Dak's situation right now, for me, from my mirror, has more to do with our situation than it does with the merits of Dak Prescott being quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I've quit a long time ago getting bent out of shape about having anybody under contract or not. And there's all kinds of other things other than a contract that could change the outcome of him being under contract. The whole thing has a lot of moving parts. Now, I can live with that. Sometimes it's worked out really well. Sometimes taking those risks will bite you.
Oh, Mike T, what do you think?
Wow, I wish I could speak like Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Look, when they didn't draft a quarterback in the first round, they gave Dak Prescott a blank check. He cannot be franchised. His extension will begin with the number 6. $60 million or more.
Woo.
And if they don't want to pay that bill, which they don't have to, they are much closer to starting over than being a contender, because they're going to have to look at next year's draft in the first round to find anyone remotely close to replacing Dak Prescott.
Wow. By the way, Dak Prescott is speaking to the media right now. He was asked, he said he doesn't have to have a new contract before the season starts, but quote, I think it says a lot if it is or if it isn't. Then somebody asked, what does it say if it isn't done? And he said, quote, just how people feel. We've all kind of felt like this was going to be pushed out a little bit. It's not going to happen before the season. I don't know. That's telling. We'll keep an eye on that as he continues to speak to the media, maybe bring you some of it. Speaking of quarterback deals, the Browns restructured Deshaun Watson's massive contract. They converted $44.79 million of his 2024 base salary into a signing bonus and created a touch over $35 million in cap space, meaning they now have over $62 million in cap space. What do you think of this, Mike?
Lauren, it was widely reported that they had an interest in Brandon Ayuk, and Dan and I were just talking. Did they create some room to maybe take one more run at Brandon Ayuk, thinking that they're maybe one player away from going meaningfully far this year? So you can roll over room from one year to the next if you don't use it. So I'm thinking they're going to take a shot at somebody between now and opening day.
Yeah, again, Brandon Ayuk did not practice once again today. We saw more frustration out of John Lynch, the 49ers GM, yesterday, talking about at some point he's just got to get out there and play. Good point. All right, still to come. There have been a lot of changes.
CeeDee Lamb got his bag this week, and rightly so. Dak Prescott, though, his status remains, well, the same. A free agent after the season, a no-trade clause. First Take, Last Take debates Dak's future in Dallas.
Dak Prescott probably would need to leave Dallas, but Jerry Jones also should consider wanting him to.
And there's something about, like, being wanted. You know what I mean? There's just something about it. It makes it glow a little bit. The chatter in Dallas is just, it's never felt like in Buffalo with Josh Allen, where regardless of what anybody else thinks, in Buffalo, JA-17 is their guy, ride or die.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, in Burrow, we trust. In Dallas, it's like, we like him. It's that hesitation.
Yeah.
And I'm very big on, do you want me or do you not want me?
Yeah.
It is very clear. And if I'm Dak, I'm not feeling the love.
Listen, Dak Prescott has all the leverage in this situation. And I know it's like, well, where could you possibly see Dak Prescott if he left the Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers? Could you imagine the Dak Prescott with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I love that.
The way we'd be talking about them?
Let me tell you a thing or two about business. Let me be very, very clear. You can't sit up there and say, well, excuse me, this is what I deserve and this is what I earn. You can't point to what the market dictates, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what else you got to do? You got to sit up there and say, yeah, this is what I did, but this is also what I'm going to do. Here I come. Now, and what I'm saying is, can Dak Prescott say that? Can he say that? I'm not saying he doesn't deserve his money. He's going to get his money. We all know he's going to get $55 to $60 million. That's a given. I'm simply saying if you're Jerry, there's nothing wrong with you going like this. Man, I want to make him sweat. I don't want him too damn comfortable like he already did something.
Here's the deal. He doesn't have to win in the playoffs to make that kind of money.
True.
Right? And that's been the rub. And I know it's been frustrating for Jerry Jones. But look at this. These are the highest average salary per year. Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, they had combined for just 2 wins.
And a whole lot of money.
Season. Yeah. So that, you know what? It probably won't factor in no matter what happens.
Nope.
Dallas Cowboys explore potential trade for New York Jets veteran receiver Allen Lazard. As the NFL season approaches, the Dallas Cowboys are actively exploring options to strengthen their roster, with New York Jets wide receiver Allen Lazard emerging as a potential trade target. ESPN's NFL insider Bill Barnwell recently highlighted Lazard as a logical trade candidate for the Cowboys. The 28-year-old receiver, currently with the Jets, is set to earn $10 million this season. However, with his role in the Jets' offense diminishing, a move to Dallas could be mutually beneficial for both teams. Barnwell suggested that the Jets could gain from offloading Lazard's contract, especially if they could convince another team, like the Cowboys, to take on a portion of his salary. If the Jets can convince another team to eat even $3 million of this deal, that's cash they could put toward acquiring a more useful player at the deadline at a bigger position of need, Barnwell noted. The Cowboys, who recently secured star wideout CD Lamb with a massive contract extension, could benefit from Lazard's presence on their roster. While Lamb remains the undisputed leader of Dallas' receiving corps, the depth chart behind him raises some concerns. Veteran receiver Brandon Cooks, though experienced, is battling a knee issue, and younger players like Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks have yet to prove themselves in significant roles. Lazard, despite coming off a career-worst season with only 311 yards and 1 touchdown on 23 catches, still holds potential as a reliable red zone target. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches, Lazard could offer the Cowboys a tall, physical presence that complements their existing offensive weapons. The idea of swapping Lazard for a future late draft pick, while the Cowboys take on most of his salary, is gaining traction as a practical move for Dallas. A change of scenery might be exactly what Lazard needs to revitalize his career, and the Cowboys could benefit from his addition as they push for a deep playoff run. As the season opener draws near, all eyes are on the Cowboys front office to see if they will pull the trigger on this potential trade and further bolster their already formidable offense. For more news and updates on the Dallas Cowboys, follow our channel. And as always, feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below.